So let's talk about the best way to use tracks. We can see here that on the left we have track names, track 1, 2, 3, 4. And we remember that the order is important because if I have something here, right now what's on top is this video of me, and so that's what I see on the screen. If instead I wanted to take this clip and drag it up above, then that's what I'll see. So whatever's on top here, whatever's the highest track, is what will be shown to the viewer on top. And then what's lower will be shown lower. And if I move this out of the way, you can see that behind this track is that track of me. Remember that we can also right-click on this clip and arrange, and I can say, let's send this to the back. And then it sends it back. Notice it moved up the track that was my camera track. Now I can take this and just drag it down if I need to, but I just wanted to remind you that you can take these clips and you can arrange them by right-clicking, and we can say, let's send this guy backward. And so now he's at the bottom. All right, I don't want him there. I'll take him back to the top. The next thing I like to do is I like to put my audio on the lowest tracks. It doesn't make sense to have audio on one of the higher tracks because you're never going to see it. And so a good common practice is for people to put their audio tracks at the bottom. Now I say audio tracks because you might have multiple tracks. In this case I only have one, and that's my voice. And so I'm going to take this and I'm going to drag it down. Now I can drag it down if I want, but let me also show you, if I want everything on here, I can move it all at once. So a couple of ways to do that. The first way is, if you remember, I can hold down the Shift key on my keyboard first, and then I can hold down my mouse key and grab this and drag it down. And you can see everything that comes after it, everything to the right of it, comes with it. Okay, so that's one way, is to hold down Shift first, then click and drag, let go of your mouse button first, and then let go of Shift. The next thing I can do is I can select all the media. Remember, I can click here and drag all the way to the end, and I can grab all the media that way, and then I can drag it down. All right. Another way I can do this is I can select all the media by right-clicking in this track area and saying, select all media on track. It might be that this track goes on and on and on and on, and I want to make sure I don't miss anything. So a good way to select it is to just do that, just to right-click on the track and say select all the media that's here, and then I can click and drag it down. So now I have my audio down here as the bottommost track. Something you can do now is you can name this track. And right now I see that it's called track 1, but because I know this is my audio, I want to change it. And I can do that. I can right-click and I can rename the track, and I'll change this to vocals. All right, so that's my voice, or maybe voice. Maybe that's a better way to do it. All right, or I can just double click and I can start typing there. Now you can see that it didn't select all of the words, so if I started typing again, like I wanted to type audio, if I hit A, it didn't delete the letters that weren't highlighted. So rather than double clicking, I just want to show you that's an option, but it may not select all of the letters that are there. So instead, right click and rename track. Now if I did have another audio track that I needed to put as background music, for example, I might want to have that even lower than this voice track. I say, well, I could select everything and then drag it up to create a track below. But there's an easier way to do that. And so what I'll do is I will just right-click this track, and I see that I have the option to insert a track either above the current one or below the current one. So if I need one below this, then I'll just choose Insert Track Below. And so now I can go in here, right-click, rename this track. This is my background music. Okay, so now it just says background, and that's okay. Now as I move things around, I can also create new tracks. So for example, if I take this clip, right now I can see the last track is track 5. If I just click and drag this up, I now have a new track, track 6. And if I scroll and grab and drag it up again, track 7 and track 8, and I can just keep going. Now, that's not great for me because now as I look at this area down here, I have all this extra space, this wasted space. So what I could do is I could right-click each of these and say remove that track, but because I have a lot of blank ones, I don't need all of those. So I can instead right-click and I can say let's remove all empty tracks. And so now if it didn't have any media on it, it's gone. I only have these 3 tracks now, and that's perfect. That's what I want. So if you happen to be working on your project and you have too many tracks, or you try to do a copy or paste, you can just right-click and remove all empty tracks. One other thing you can do if you need to add tracks is you can also use this Add Track button. So this little plus sign in the upper left will let you add a track. So right now I just have a total of 3 tracks. If I click the plus, I have track 4. And if I click it again, now I have track 5. And you can just see I can just keep adding tracks by clicking the Add Track button.